everybody, welcome back to PW IELTS and TOEFL Prep. My name is Vandana, and in today's lecture we are going to be diving deep into understanding the complete overview of the first part of PTE exam, that's Pearson Test of English exam. And in part 1 we are going to understand the speaking plus writing module. We are going to understand the complete overview as in the scoring and tips and strategies, the kind of questions that you get in this part. All that is on the agenda in this particular lecture. So let's quickly get started and get the ball rolling, and here we go. All right, so the very first thing is, let's talk about the 3 parts in the PTE exam. Now part 1 is going to be for somewhere around 54 to 67 minutes, and in this part you are going to be dealing with speaking and writing questions. Then the second and third part are for reading and listening respectively, which are going to be roughly around 30 minutes each. Now in today's lecture we are going to focus on speaking and writing, and we are going to understand different question types, their scoring, tips, strategies, and the time that you are given to deal with each question type. So let's get started. Here we go. Right, now these are different question types that you will see on the day of exam in the first part. Number 1 is personal introduction. Then you have read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, read a lecture, answer short questions, summarize group discussion, respond to a situation, and summarize written text, and finally write essay. Now the very first question that you see here, which is personal introduction, is not scored. The whole purpose of this question is that you get familiar with the software that you are using, because as you already know, PTE exam is completely computer based. So you will be handling a software, and the whole purpose is that you get familiar with the software, and that is why personal introduction is included, and this is not scored. However, when you send your scores to different university, your personal introduction, the one that you record here, is also sent along. So yes, that's something that you need to consider and keep in mind. Moving on. Right, so PT is completely AI scoring, and these are the 4 skills which are measured: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And some other enabling skills are, you will be scored on your grammar, oral fluency, spellings, pronunciation, vocabulary, and of course written discourse. Some questions contribute to multiple skills. Multiple skills as in, from one single questions, they may check both your listening and speaking skills. So some questions contribute to multiple skills. Moving on. Let's talk about personal introduction. So you'll be given 25 minutes for this question type, and you have to answer something like this. You will see this kind of prompt which says, please introduce yourself. You have 25 seconds to prepare and 30 seconds to speak. It's just important to understand that this question type is not scored, but yes, your answer will be sent to various universities along with your score report. All you need to do is just be natural, calm, composed, and confident when it comes to personal introduction, and you can actually prepare it in advance very nicely, since you know ki ye to aane wala hai exam mein. Right, now moving ahead. Okay, now let's talk about the questions now which matter a lot, and because they are going to be scored. So read aloud question type. Now here you will get 30 to 40 seconds, which is your preparation time. You read a short text aloud into the microphone. The text will be displayed on screen. You will get some time to read the text, and the scoring in this, when they score you, your speaking and reading skills will be assessed. And while assessing your speaking and reading skills, your pronunciation, fluency, and stress intonation is considered. Now, everybody understands what fluency is, but just letting you know that it's not about rushing. You need to speak calm and in a composed way, but yes, do not take long pauses. And stress and intonation means you need to put more force of breath on content words. Now, content words are nouns, adjectives, adverbs. These are your content words. So put more force of breath for emphasis on these words. That will really bring out your intonation nicely. Moving on. Okay, some strategies. Number 1, there's simply no need to read too fast. You'll get sufficient time to read. Focus on clear pronunciation and Pause at punctuation. Now, this is important, guys. When you see a comma or a full stop, take a small pause over there, maybe half a second or so, but that's important for your intonation. And maintain natural rhythm. You should not sound robotic. So monotone voice means sounding robotic. Please don't do that. Sound like a human. And yes, long pauses must be avoided. Moving on. Next question type is repeat sentence. So here an audio will be played and you'll get 3 to 9 seconds. That audio length will be 3 to 9 seconds long. So it will not be a very lengthy audio. And then you have to just repeat whatever you heard in that audio. You have to repeat, and for that you will be given 15 seconds. What you need to do is you need to just listen to a sentence and repeat it exactly. You are not supposed to insert any new words here. You are not supposed to use synonyms of the words that you used here. You simply need to repeat the exact thing that you heard. Audio is played once only, and you will also be able to record your response just once. You will be scored on your listening and speaking skills in this question type. Then we come to describe image question type, which is pretty important. Now here you are given 25 seconds to prepare. In these 25 seconds, you will see an image. Now this image can be of any graph. It can be a line graph, bar graph, table, process, that kind of thing. So it can be chart, map, it can be simply a picture, any picture. For example, a teacher with students in the classroom and you have to describe that. It can be a diagram. So what you need to do is you need to look at the picture very nicely, intricately in those 25 seconds, and then you get 40 seconds for your response. In those 40 seconds, you simply have to describe what exactly you see in the picture. So that's what this task is all about. And this is an example that I've taken for you. So if you see, you have a bar chart here showing number of female and male students. And please take 25 minutes nicely if you want to give a high scoring answer. Not 25 minutes, 25 seconds. Please use those 25 seconds nicely. Now, if we see at this bar chart, we see that there are 3 different rooms, 301, 302, 30. It should have been 3 here, right? And they're talking about grade 5 classroom. The blue bar is denoting male students and the green bar is denoting female students. So in those 25 seconds, mention the key features. In those 25 seconds, note down the key features. And when you actually come to describing the chart, mention the key features without fail. Let's understand it in a little more detail. So these are some tips. You need to understand the structure. If you want to ace this question type, understand the structure. Now the structure is, number 1, introduction. In introduction, you will simply say that what this bar chart is showing. So for example, this bar chart shows grade 5 male and female students in 3 different rooms. That's what this bar chart shows. That will be your introduction. And then you will state about 2 to 3 key trends. In key trends, if you are given a line graph, you can simply talk about, let's say, increasing trend or decreasing trend. If you are given a bar chart, something like this, notice the highest and lowest points. For example, the highest number of male students are in room 302, which are more than 10, whereas the least number of male students are in room 303, which are somewhere around maybe 8. Right, so we need to include highest and lowest, include data also, and similarly you will talk about female students also. That would be the key points. Moving on, then in the end you need to include conclusion also. In conclusion, we can say that the number of male students is higher than female students overall, right? So that is something that we can include in our conclusion. Now these are some useful phrases. Now this is something that you can use in your introduction. You can simply say the chart illustrates, the chart depicts, and then for key trends include the highest figure is, the lowest figure is. So that's something your main body. And for conclusion, you can use in general or to conclude these kind of phrases. So in general, it can be seen that. But yes, do not use a lot of memorized language because that will take your score down. It has to be genuine and authentic answer. Moving on, then you will move to retell lecture. So here your task is that you have to listen to or watch a lecture, retell the lecture in your own words, and after listening or watching that lecture you have to retell it in your own words. You may also see an image related to the audio. Now while the audio is playing, you can take notes on the erasable noteboard that will be provided to you. Now the prompt length is somewhere going to be 90 seconds long and you will be given 40 seconds to retell that lecture. And your skills that are going to be assessed are listening and speaking. And one more thing, once the audio stops, you will get 10 seconds to prepare. In these 10 seconds, take a good look at your notes and see how do you want to organize those notes. So I believe if you use the time nicely, if you understand the lecture very nicely when it is being played, take down your notes and then use those 10 seconds nicely, then it should not be difficult to retell that lecture in the given 40 seconds. Let's understand a few more things about it. Now, before the recording begins, you will have 3 seconds to look at the image on the screen. So additional 3 minutes, that means. Use this brief moment to think about possible vocabulary related to the picture. Now in those 3 seconds, you can predict also, looking at that picture, you can predict that what this entire audio is going to be about. This can help you understand the likely topic of the lecture and predict the information you are about to hear. Use the 40 seconds of speaking time effectively, and you have only 40 seconds to speak. So ensure that you cover all key points from the lecture. Please do not repeat ideas and there's no need to correct yourself too frequently. Do not pause too much as this will waste precious time and may reduce your score. 40 seconds is a brief time, is a very short period of time. In this time, if you are repeating your ideas or if you are pausing too much or if you are correcting yourself too much, you won't be able to cover all the key points. And that is why this should be avoided. Self-correcting a lot and taking pauses, repeating ideas, these things are major no-no here. Moving on, you will also be given a short answer question. Now here you will hear a question and you need to give a simple and short answer. Often just a few words is enough. So don't think about giving a very lengthy answer for this question type. Sometimes just one single word is enough, okay? So there's no need to give a very lengthy answer in this question type. So look at this example. So it says, what do we call a 12-month accounting period used by governments, companies and organizations for financial reporting and budgeting purpose? The answer is fiscal year. So this is how you need to keep your answer very crisp in this question type. Do not try to give a lengthy answer. The prompt length is going to be somewhere around 3 to 9 seconds and you will be assessed on your listening skills, and therefore there's no need to give a lengthy answer. Time to answer is going to be 10 seconds. You'll be given 10 seconds. If you don't speak in those 10 seconds, you will lose your chance and you will have to move ahead. Moving on, so in this question type, a little bit of vocabulary is something that you need to consider. For example, look at these tips. So do not try to give a long answer as your speaking skills are not assessed in this question type. Do not pause for too long when you answer the question because you hardly have 10 seconds. You hear a short question and then the recording status box will change to recording. Start your answer as soon as this happens. As soon as you see that, okay, the status has changed to recording, please start speaking. If you wait for more than 3 seconds, the recording will stop and the item status will change to completed, which means that you have lost your chance to give your answer. Yes, so that means even in those 10 seconds, you have to start speaking almost immediately. If you wait for more than 3 seconds, you will lose your chance because The status will show completed and you will have to move ahead and you will simply lose your chance to speak. So do not wait for more than 3 seconds once you get your chance to record. Moving on. Now next task is summarizing group discussion. Now here you will hear 3 people discussing something and then you'll have to summarize the discussion in your own words. Now this discussion can be up to 3 minutes long, which is not a very high length, and you will be assessed on your listening and speaking, and for that 3-minute audio you will be given 2 minutes to retell, to summarize that group discussion in your own words. When you are trying to summarize that group discussion in your own words, once again, repeating ideas is something that needs to be avoided, and key points must be spoken. Let's understand about this. Right, so these are the things that you need to keep in mind for summarized group discussion. In this task, you are required to summarize the information you hear in the audio. The recording will start playing automatically. Once the audio ends, you will be given 10 seconds to prepare your response and 2 minutes to speak. You will hear a short beep and you should begin speaking immediately after the tone. Avoid speaking before the microphone opens, as your voice will not be captured. So this is important. Once you hear the beep, only then start speaking. Make sure to speak clearly and at a comfortable pace. There's no need to rush. Your pronunciation needs to be clear. If we are not able to understand, if the AI is not able to understand what you have spoken, just imagine how low the score can go. Try to complete your response before the progress bar reaches the end. Yes, this is important. Let's say you are speaking and the progress bar has reached end and you are not able to end your talk. That is not recommended. You should be able to end your talk properly in time. So once the recording finishes, the status will change from recording to completed. Remember that you can record your response only once. While listening to the audio, you are allowed to take notes on the erasable whiteboard that's provided to you. I hope that helps. Moving on. Now let's understand how this question is scored. So in this question you will be scored on the content. So on the content it will be seen whether the information that you are summarizing is correct or incorrect. Have you covered all key points or not? Have you paraphrased the content or are you simply copying the language? It's highly recommended that you paraphrase and do not copy. If you simply copy the language, the score is impacted negatively. Now in pronunciation, they will see is your speech easily understandable or whether they have to strain their ears to understand you. So it should be easily understandable. Oral fluency means does your response show a smooth and natural rate of speech or there are pauses and there's hesitation. So that is something that's going to be checked here while the scoring of this question. Moving on. Okay, next question is respond to a task. Now here you have to listen to and read the description of a situation, then answer a question about it with an extended response. Now the prompt length is going to be somewhere around 60 words. You will be assessed on your speaking skills and once again you will be given 40 seconds for your response. So in this question type, you will read and listen to a prompt that describes a common real life situation. So it will be written, the situation will be written in front of you and at the same time, you will also be hearing it in the audio. Your task is to give a spoken response explaining what you say in that particular situation. So the way we commonly have conversations in our offices with our friends, the way we respond, it's that kind of thing over here. Any situation and you have to respond. The audio will start playing automatically. Once it finishes, you will be given 10 seconds to prepare your response and 40 seconds to speak. I believe these extra 10 seconds that you are being given are super crucial. If you use them nicely, you will be able to ace this question type. You will hear a short beep and you should begin speaking immediately after the tone. Avoid speaking before the microphone opens because your voice will not be recorded. So wait for the beep. Once you hear that beep, only then start speaking. Speak clearly at a natural pace. There's no need to rush. Make sure you finish your response before the progress bar reaches the end. Exactly. It should not be such a case where the progress bar has reached the end and you were still speaking. Your answer was still incomplete. That should not be the case. You should be able to end your answer in time. When the recording ends, the status will change from recording to completed. You can listen to the audio only once. You will be able to listen to the audio only once, and you are allowed to record your response once only. So yes, that's about responding to a situation. And very soon in the upcoming video, we are going to see sample questions on all these question types. Moving on, these are some tips for respond to a situation question type. Use the preparation time very effectively. That means those 10 seconds that you are given. So you are given 10 seconds to prepare. So carefully review the prompt and decide the key points you want to communicate. Also consider whether your response should use a formal and informal tone. This is super important. If you are, let's say, responding to a situation to your boss, to your manager, you need formal tone, formal English. But if you are responding to a family member, to a friend, then you need informal English. So that is also something you need to consider in those 10 seconds. Since you only have to speak 40 seconds to speak, ensure that you include all the necessary points within the limited time. That's important. So do not just include one necessary point, include all necessary points. Avoid repeating ideas, correcting yourself too much, or pausing for too long, as these can waste valuable time and may reduce your score. Instead, keep speaking confidently. So that's about responding to a situation. Moving on, summarize written text question type is the next one here. And here your task is that after reading the text, write a one-sentence summary of the passage. Now that sentence can be lengthy, it can be a well-developed sentence, but it has to be one single sentence. Now you will be given a text of 300 words, which is pretty much considering that you have to summarize it in just one single sentence. But we will see how we can ace this question type. So you will be assessed on your reading and writing skills for this question type, and you will be given 10 minutes to answer. It's very important to use that given time judiciously. Maybe you can, I won't say maybe, I would say you should divide these 10 minutes in 3 segments. I would say take about 3 minutes to understand the passage thoroughly, and last 2 minutes check your work, see if you want to change any spelling, any connector, anything that went wrong and you want to correct that. And that is how you will be left with 5 minutes in your hands to write that one single sentence where your score depends. So let's understand a bit more about it. Now for this question type, you need to write a summary of the text in one sentence. You have 10 minutes to write your summary. Make sure to include the main points of the reading passage in a full single sentence of no more than 75 words. Yes, now the word limit. Let's understand. If you write fewer than 5 words or more than 75 words, you will be getting a 0 on this question. So the word limit is pretty strict here. You cannot go beyond 75. You cannot write fewer than 5 words. That's incredibly vital. Let's also understand some tips here. So ensure that your response is in correct form. That means the word limit is met. After writing your answer, confirm that it contains only one sentence. One sentence means simply that there should be one full stop at the end. Other than that, one full stop at the end, do not use full stop anywhere else. That would simply be a disaster for this question type. So confirm that it contains only one sentence, begins with a capital letter and ends with one single full stop. You of course need to use connectors for this question type. Your response should include a minimum of 5 words and a maximum of 75 words. Use the total word count tool displayed below the response box to verify the length. So this is a saving grace. You will not have to count the words that you have written. It will be displayed on screen. Responses with fewer than 5 or more than 75 words are not going to be evaluated, like I told you. And for this question type, it's incredibly vital to learn the rules of complex and compound sentences. And when we talk about complex and compound sentences, conjunctions come into the picture, and with conjunctions you need to understand the comma rules also. One other thing that will help you in this question type is understanding how to use semicolons correctly. So that is about summarized written text. Moving on, let's understand how this question is scored. Number one, you will be scored on the content. So that means your response should clearly summarize the main ideas of the passage. You cannot write anything. It should be something from the passage only. All key points must be included without misrepresenting the topic or purpose. That means if the meaning goes haywire, if the passage is saying one thing but your summary is saying another thing, then that will put your score in trouble. If the summary misrepresents the passage, you will receive 0 marks. Here you go. That means if the meaning changes, if passage is saying ABC but you are writing XYZ, you will be given 0 on this question type. So you really can't distort the meaning. High scoring answers capture the central idea and briefly include important supporting details. So yes, you need the main idea and briefly you need supporting details also, the explanation also of that main idea. And while doing all this, you cannot go beyond 75 words. Always keep that in mind. Okay, so another thing that you will be scored on is the form. Now, one, you will be given scores on content where they will check whether you have included main key points or not, whether the meaning is same or not. In form, it's about the words that you are using. I mean the word limit. So the summary must be written as one complete sentence. If there are more than one sentences, again your score is in trouble. If you are writing fewer than 5 and more than 75, your score, you will not be given any scores. So this word limit comes under the form criteria. Moving on, grammar, you will be assessed on your grammar, of course, since this is a English language proficiency test. So your response should demonstrate accurate and correct grammar usage. So सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं है कि end में full stop लगा दिया and starting में capital letter use कर लिया. बीच में what are the connectors you are using, where you are using commas, where you are using semicolons, all that comes under grammar. So strong responses typically include a main clause and a subordinate clause. Main clause plus subordinate clause means complex sentences. You will also be scored on your vocabulary. So assess whether the response uses accurate and appropriate words. Words should be relevant to the passage and suitable for an academic context. Exactly. For example, we cannot write informal words like guys, folks. These are some informal terminologies which we should not write in academic text. So use appropriate words. That's about vocabulary. Effective use of synonyms is rewarded. And also, of course, in vocabulary, your spellings also are checked. That also goes with accuracy. So the next one now is essay writing, the elephant in the room. That's your part 1 question. And here your task is to write an essay with around just 200 to 300 words. The prompt length, you will be given the prompt in written, which will be just about 2 to 3 words. Your writing skills will be assessed, and you will be given 20 minutes to write an essay. In these 20 minutes, you have to write a minimum of 200 words and a maximum of 300. Do not go beyond 300 words. And that's exactly what is written here. Do not go beyond this word limit. Let's understand more about it. So you will be scored on content. That means, is your response relevant to the question? Relevance is of utmost importance. If they are talking about noise pollution, you cannot talk about air pollution in your essay. That's relevance. They will also see, have you addressed all aspects of the topic? So sometimes two questions are asked, or sometimes there's a comparison between two aspects. Are you dealing with all the aspects written in the question? So for example, if the question is comparing between traditional classroom structure versus online education, and you are in the favor of traditional classroom structure, you still need to compare it with the online mode. If you are ignoring online mode, that means you are not addressing all parts of the prompt. That's what it is about. If the response does not address the topic, you will not be given any score. Like I said, if your response is irrelevant, the example I gave here was of noise pollution and air pollution. If the question is about noise pollution and your response is on air pollution, in such cases you are given 0. So be very careful, understand the question properly, and then start writing after planning. You will also be scored on development, structure, and coherence. So development means that have you only listed your ideas or have you explained them? So if you have not explained your ideas, you will not be given a good score. And structure, of course, means logical paragraphing, not random paragraphing. Coherence means logical connection between your sentences. So all these things are seen. Under form, they will check the word limit. So whether the length of your essay is sufficient or not, which should be between 200 and 300 words. In general linguistic range, they will see whether you are able to express your ideas with proper use of language or not. So are you able to convey your ideas using the precise words and phrases? So that's general linguistic range. Are you able to express complex ideas using complex sentences and vocabulary? So basically क्या होता है ना, when we are trying to put complex sentences into words, the language gets wordy. We start speaking and writing too much in that case. So the language should not be wordy. So that is what will be seen here, that are you able to express yourself without making your language wordy in a crisp manner? So are you having the right words for that? That will be seen here in general linguistic range. Of course, grammar, usage and mechanics, you will be given score on this also. So here they will see as in, does your response demonstrate correct grammar, usage and consistent control of standard written English. Grammar, usage and mechanics are scored by examining sentence structure, punctuation. Under punctuation, you need to take care of full stop, commas, capital initials and small initials, all these, of course, question mark and the such stuff. And capitalization, of course, you cannot start a new sentence with a small letter. So that is what this is about. The best responses contain high proportion of grammatically correct complex sentences that clearly communicate the intended meaning. So you need grammatical accuracy, and that accuracy also is needed not only in simple sentences but in well-developed complex sentences. So are you able to write complex sentences with grammatical accuracy or not? That is seen here. Moving on, you will also be given score on vocabulary. Here you need to see, does your response demonstrate command of a broad vocabulary range or are you simply repeating the words? Vocabulary range is scored according to the variety of words in your response and their appropriateness in the academic environment. So yes, broad range of vocabulary, of course, means the variety. While talking about, let's say you are talking about curfew, what are some variety of words that you can use here? That's one thing. Second, academic environment. That means you need formal English only, formal words only. Synonyms, idiomatic expressions and academic terms are also assessed if they are appropriate, if they are fitting into that context. The best responses use precise academic terms and avoid repetition by using synonyms and idioms where appropriate, because when you start repeating the terms, the polish from your essay goes down. So avoid as much repetition as possible. And of course, spellings. There should not be any goof-ups with spellings. So here you need to see if your response demonstrates correct and consistent use of single spelling convention. Single spelling convention means if you follow British English, then you have to follow British English in the entire test. If you follow American English, then you have to follow American English in your entire test. Avoid blending the two. So for example, color, the spelling of color, color is also right, colour is also right, but that depends on British and American. So whatever version you follow, stick to that one version rather than blending the two. So that's about single spelling convention. Moving on, let's also understand the different types of essays that you may get on the day of exam, so that there are no surprises for you on that day. And here we go. Now, the very first question type here is opinion essay. They can simply ask you, what do you think? What's your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? Or to what extent do you agree or disagree? So in different sentences, in different ways, your opinion can be asked. So look at the example prompt. For example, it says, do you agree or disagree that technology has improved the quality of education? So if you agree, you will have to justify your ideas. So look at the sentence starters here. You can begin your introduction like this. And yes, keep one thing in mind. Here I am showing you the sentence starters in bullet points, but please do not use bullet points in your essays. That would be a major blunder. Don't do that, okay? Now let's take a look at the sentence starters. Here you go. So you can begin like this. In recent years, the role of technology in education has increased significantly. While some people believe that opposite viewpoint, I agree that your own opinion. So this can be something that you can follow for the introduction. Do not use a lot of cramped language though. But yes, this is something that you can follow for the introduction. And let's also see some starters for the body paragraphs. And here you go. Body paragraph, you can say, firstly, technology allows us or allows students to blah, blah, blah. And body paragraph 2, another important reason is that blah, blah, blah. So just take one idea here for each of the body paragraph, explain that idea, maybe talk about in explanation, talk about the reasons, result, and then add an example. In the coming video, we are going to dive deep into this thing also, wherein I will show you a couple of sample essays. But yes, right now, just discussing the structure with you. In conclusion, you can use phrases like in conclusion or to conclude. And then in that paragraph, you simply conclude what you have stated above in your body paragraphs, and you restate your opinion. While restating your opinion, do not contradict yourself. If you agreed in the beginning, then in the end also you should stick to agreement. Then in the end, don't say that I disagree. That would be a major goof up. So that was about agree, disagree. Moving on, discussion essay. So here you are given two debatable viewpoints. So for example, look at this question. It says, some people believe online learning is better while others prefer traditional classroom education. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Now your opinion is being asked. That means you need to take a stand. सो ओपिनियन के लिए ये मत सोचो कि सिर्फ अग्री डिसअग्री में पूछा जाएगा. योर ओपिनियन कैन बी आस्क्ड इन एनी टाइप ऑफ essay, and always have a very crystal clear opinion. I always say be blunt about your opinion, unapologetically blunt about it. If you want a high score for your essays, don't try to be diplomatically correct here. Anyway, coming back to this question, so yes, you need to state your opinion very clearly whether you are in the favor of online learning or traditional classrooms. And let's say you are in the favor of online learning, you still have to discuss the opposite side also, that's traditional classroom. And that's because the question is demanding. Question keh raha hai bhai, discuss both views. If the question is demanding, you can't ignore that. So even if you are in the favor of one side, discuss the other. This is how you can begin your introduction. The inclusion of online learning cannot be denied in the modern education system. Some people argue XYZ, while other people believe that ABC. So different opinions, two different opinions can be clubbed using this statement. And then you state your opinion. In my opinion, whatever side you are in favor of, that goes over here. Moving on. Body paragraph 1, you take the first viewpoint given in the question, which is online learning. You explain it, that why exactly some people think that it is beneficial. Give a reason, explain that reason properly. For explanation, use result, reasons, impacts, use all that, and then give a relevant example. In body paragraph 2, take the second view given in the question, which is traditional classrooms, and once again give a proper reason that why some people still believe that traditional classrooms are a better scenario, and explain that reason using result or other scenarios, and then give a relevant example. Examples make your ideas and your body paragraphs more concrete, so do not skip examples. And then you finally come to the conclusion, where you summarize what you have stated above and you restate your opinion. Opinion should be same. What you stated in the introduction needs to go once again in the conclusion. Moving on, then we come to advantages and disadvantages essay. Now see, in advantage, disadvantage also your opinion can be asked, but let's take a look at this question here. It says studying abroad has become increasingly popular. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Now in this question, they are not asking your opinion, they are simply asking you what are the positives and negatives of studying abroad. But when in advantage disadvantage essay you see this kind of language, do you think that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? In such cases, understand that they are asking you to take a stand. In such cases, understand that they are asking whether advantages are more dominating or disadvantages are more concrete. So you'll have to take a stand, but yes, you will still have to make separate body paragraphs on advantages and disadvantages. So learn and recognize the different possibilities of same question type that you may get on the day of exam. Now here in the introduction, you can say, in recent years, studying abroad has become a common choice among students. This trend has both advantages and disadvantages. And then you begin with your body paragraphs. Body paragraph 1 would be on advantages. You can begin something like this. One major advantage of studying abroad is that, then you write your main plus point here and then you explain it. Consequently means as a result. That means now you are talking about the result of that plus point. Consequently, students gain exposure, they develop a lot of skills and all that. And finally, you come to a relevant example. And yes, in advantage disadvantage essay, make a double idea body paragraph. So once you are done with explaining one advantage, then there should be a second advantage as well with explanation. Same goes for disadvantages. This is how you can begin. However, studying abroad has some drawbacks. One significant disadvantage is, then you write the main disadvantage, you explain that, give an example, and once all this is done, write one more disadvantage. If you want a high band, high score, then use, write double idea body paragraph. Then in conclusion, we say something like this. In conclusion, although studying abroad offers several benefits, and then you club. When you are clubbing to opposite sides, let's say traditional classrooms versus online education or advantages versus disadvantages, when you are clubbing to opposite sides, you can use although or while. These are two great conjunctions to club opposite sides. Moving on, then you can also get problem solution essay. It can be causes and effect essay also on the day of exam. So it says traffic congestion is becoming a serious problem in many cities. Why is this? What solutions can solve this issue? So why is this means you are being asked reasons. Please इस question को ignore मत करना. पता नहीं क्यों students दोनों question का answer नहीं करते हैं. एक ही क्वेश्चन सॉल्यूशंस देख लिया और उसी का आंसर कर देते हैं. वाई आ गया मतलब आपसे आपके रीजंस पूछे जा रहे हैं. डू नॉट इग्नोर दैट. मेक वन बॉडी पैराग्राफ ऑन वाई स्टेटिंग रीजंस फॉर ट्रैफिक कंजेस्शन, दैट वाई इट इज इंक्रीजिंग, and another body paragraph stating the solutions. So the introduction can look something like this. No bullet points, please. I'm just giving you a skeleton that, okay, this is the skeleton your introduction may look like, but yes, do not follow bullet points here. So traffic congestion has become a major issue in many urban areas. There are several reasons for this problem and various solutions can be implemented to remedy the situation. To remedy the situation is a very nice collocation that you can use for problem solution essay. Moving on, let's take a look at the body paragraphs. Now, body paragraph 1 is going to be about reasons. So, one of the main causes of traffic congestion is then you use your main reason and then you explain it. This is because, and then after explanation, add another contributing factor. That means one more reason, explain it, and then write a relevant example. For solutions, you can write something like this, that to address this issue, several measures can be taken. First, governments should blah blah. This will result in explanation. Additionally, your second solution, explanation of the second solution, and then an example. In the conclusion, you can say, in conclusion, traffic congestion is a serious issue, because you can, in place of serious issue, you can also say is a grave concern. If you want to paraphrase, you can also say is a grave concern, because then you state a reason that you stated in the body paragraph 1. And for solutions, say, however, this can be reduced if, and then you summarize one solution that you stated above in body paragraph 2. Therefore, implementing these solutions is essential. So that's how the skeleton of your essay looks like. I'm sure it will be helpful. I am hoping that it's helpful for some of you. Okay, now you can also get causes and effect essay, which looks very similar to problem solution, but please question samajh lena. Problem solution, causes, effect, they're just different possibilities of the same question type. Sometimes they ask only solutions, sometimes they ask problems and solutions, sometimes they ask reasons and solutions. Here they are asking causes and effects of a problem. So let's take a look at the example prompt. It says, many young people spend a lot of time on social media. What are the causes? Causes means, once again, give reasons that why exactly they do it, and effects of this trend. That means the impacts, the outcomes of this trend. इसकी वजह से क्या होता है? Outcomes means result. So in the introduction, you can say, in recent years, the use of social media among young people has increased dramatically. This trend is driven by several causes and has various effects. Something like this can be your introduction. I would recommend including a cause and an effect over here, just mentioning that without explaining. Moving on. Body paragraph 1, make it on causes and write 2 causes. And you can begin like this. One major reason why young people use social media frequently is blah blah, whatever your reason is. And then you have consequently, that means uska result kya hai, what's the result. In place of consequently, you can also use the phrase as a result. And then you add another reason for that, you explain that, you add a relevant example, and you are sorted, done and dusted. Then you move to body paragraph 2 and you talk about effects, which you can begin like this. This trend has several effects on individuals and society. One major impact is that. Then you write your main idea, explain it, write an example, then you write your idea number 1 and explain it. Please remember that you do not need to add 2 examples. 1 example per paragraph would be super sufficient. Moving on, it says, in conclusion, while social media use is influenced by several factors such as this and that, its effects are ABC. So, I mean, in short, you'll have to summarize what you said above. But yes, in conclusion, avoid writing any new ideas. Moving on, then you can also be given a double question essay. So here the prompt can look like this. People are choosing to have children later in life. First, you are given some information, and after that information, you are being asked 2 questions. Number 1, why is this happening? Like I mentioned, why aa gaya matlab reasons aa gaye. They are asking reasons why people are deciding to have children later in life, and then you would say, is it a positive or negative development? Stick to one side, because in the middle you have this conjunction or. When this conjunction comes, stick to one side, either positive or negative. So in such a case, body paragraph 1 will be about your reasons that why people are deciding to have children later in life. In body paragraph 2, you will explain your opinion that if it's positive for you, why it's positive, if it's negative for you, why it's negative. Introduction can look something like this. It says, in many countries, people are increasingly choosing to start families later in life. There are a few reasons. You can add one reason here, such as dash, leading to this development. In my opinion, this is a positive, or in my opinion, this is a negative trend, because then you can state one reason, or you can simply say, in my opinion, this is a positive development, full stop, or in my opinion, this is a negative development, full stop. That would be your introduction, and then you move to body paragraphs. Let's take a look at body paragraphs, and here you go. So body paragraph 1, like I said, go with reasons. So the first question in the prompt goes in body para 1, and the second question in the prompt goes in body paragraph 2. Now the first question was why, and that's why it's going to be on reasons. And we can say one key reason for this trend is whatever your reason is. Another contributing factor is. So do not list reasons like this, that one key reason is this and another contributing factor is like this. No, don't do that. What I'm trying to tell you through these 2 bullet points is that you write one reason and then you explain it. At least one sentence explanation is required. And then you move to second reason and then you explain the second reason. And after that, add an example. So that will be a full-fledged 5-sentence structure. And coming to body para 2, where you are going to justify your opinion, you can start like this. In my opinion, this development is largely positive, or this development is largely negative, because then you state your reason here. To justify our opinion, we always state reasons. One important reason is that you state it and then you develop it nicely. You explain it properly. And then write a relevant example. For explanation, I always say that look for result, look for reason. Reason नहीं लिख रहे हो तो उसका भी reason सोच सकते हो कि ऐसा लोग कर रहे हैं तो क्यों कर रहे हैं. And if reason and results are not working, although they always work for development, if they are not working, ask WH questions like how this can be resolved if this is negative, or when did it start, where exactly the inspiration came from. So ask yourself WH questions. That way also you will be able to explain your ideas. Finally, conclusion. In conclusion, all the people delay parenthood due to several reasons, and then you state your opinion. I believe that this is positive, or I believe that this is negative because of dash, your reason which you stated in the second body paragraph. Nothing new goes in the conclusion. Everything that is already stated, your opinion, the ideas in the body paragraphs, all that is summarized. So with that, it's a wrap. I am hoping that this lecture will be helpful. This will give you some glimpse, some key insights into what to expect in the first part of the PTE exam, which is going to be for roughly 1 hour. In the coming lectures, we are going to dive deep into speaking and writing modules of this exam, and we are going to do some practice question types also. I'll see you soon in the next lecture. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.